Christmas Eve, 1945. A night of joy swiftly transforms into a chilling nightmare for the Sodder family. The Sodders, an immigrant family from Italy, were celebrating the festive season in their home nestled in the hills of West Virginia. The family of 9 children and their parents, George and Jenny Sodder, were filled with mirth and merriment, unaware of the impending doom. Imagine the scene. The house is adorned with Christmas decorations. The air is filled with the sweet aroma of holiday treats, and the sound of laughter echoes through the hallways. The Sodder children, ranging from toddlers to teenagers, were absorbed in their holiday cheer, unwrapping presents and sharing stories. As the evening progressed, the family retired, leaving 5 of the Sodder children awake, engrossed in their new toys. The night was cold, but the warmth of the holiday spirit kept the chill at bay. Suddenly, in the dead of the night, a fire broke out. The quiet tranquility was shattered by the crackling flames and the acrid scent of smoke. Frantic, George and Jenny sprang into action. George, a sturdy man with a strong will, attempted to extinguish the fire, but to no avail. The flames were too fierce, the smoke too thick. The parents managed to escape, along with 4 of their children, but where were the other 5? As the dawn broke, the once lively household was reduced to smoldering rubble. The frantic search for the missing children began. The Sodders scoured the remnants of their house, their hearts heavy with dread, but all they found were charred remains and an eerie silence. No bodies, no evidence, nothing. It was as if the children had evaporated into thin air. The joyous Christmas Eve had turned into a horrifying nightmare. The festive decorations were replaced by the grim reality of loss. The laughter had died down, replaced by the deafening silence of disbelief. The Sodder family was left grappling with the inexplicable loss. As the flames died down, 5 of the Sodder children had vanished without a trace. In the cold light of Christmas morning, the investigation into the Sodder children's disappearance began. The local fire department, dusted with ash and grim determination, combed through the charred remnants of what was once a joyous family home. The expectation was to find the unthinkable, the remains of the 5 missing Sodder children. But as the hours wore on, the expected turned into the inexplicable. The fire had been fierce, yes, but not so intense as to completely obliterate all traces of human remains. Yet there was nothing, no bones, no fragments, no signs that 5 children had been caught in the inferno. This bewildering discovery, or rather the lack of it, was the first twist in a mystery that would torment the Sodder family for decades to come. As the fire department scratched their heads over the perplexing absence of human remains, the Sodders' suspicion began to simmer. They questioned the competency of the fire department, their slowness to respond, and the convenient malfunction of their fire truck. The seeds of doubt were sown, and they began to suspect that their children had not perished in the fire, but had been taken. Determined to uncover the truth, the Sodders took matters into their own hands. They hired a private investigator, a man known for his tenacity and his dogged pursuit of the truth. He was to delve deeper into the strange circumstances surrounding the fire, to challenge the initial findings, and to hunt for clues that the local authorities had seemingly overlooked. The Sodders refused to accept the narrative that their children had simply vanished into thin air. They held on to hope, fueled by the glaring absence of evidence and propelled by an unwavering belief that their children were still alive. The lack of evidence turned a tragic fire into a perplexing mystery. A mystery that was just beginning. A mystery that would consume the lives of the Sodder family and baffle investigators for generations to come. The stage was set for an investigation that would twist and turn, leaving more questions than answers in its wake. As the Sodder family dug deeper, a series of anomalies began to unravel. On the fateful night of the fire, the Sodder household was plunged into chaos. The flames were a terrifying sight, but what was even more unsettling were the strange occurrences that accompanied them. The phone lines, which should have been their lifeline in such a crisis, mysteriously went dead. The family's confusion escalated when they realized that their ladder, always reliably stationed by the side of the house, had vanished. This was not just a simple case of misplaced equipment. The ladder was later found thrown in a ditch some distance away from the property. Was it a cruel twist of fate or a calculated move by someone with a sinister intent? But it didn't stop there. As the ashes cooled and the Sodder family began to grapple with their loss, they clung to a glimmer of hope. They claimed to have seen their children alive after the fire. Their conviction was not born out of desperation, but based on sightings corroborated by others in the community. A woman reported seeing the children peering from a passing car while the fire was still in progress. An innkeeper and a waitress in a neighboring city also claimed to have seen the children days after the fire. Their accounts were eerily similar: 4 children accompanied by 2 women and 2 men, all of Italian extraction. These sightings were like pieces of a puzzle that refused to fit together, creating an image that was as perplexing as it was heartbreaking. The family was convinced that their children were alive and that someone had taken them away. They believed the fire was deliberately set to cover the abduction. The anomalies surrounding the Sodder children's disappearance were not just mere coincidences, but pointed to a much larger, sinister plot. A plot that seemed to be designed to confuse, to mislead, and to create a smokescreen behind which the truth could be conveniently hidden. Every new detail added another layer of complexity to the enigma. Years passed, but the Sodder family's hope flickered as persistent as a candle in the wind. Time may have weathered their faces, but it did not dampen their spirits, a flame ignited by a parent's love for their children, refusing to be extinguished by the cruel hands of fate. The Sodders were not content to sit idly by, waiting for answers to fall into their laps. They took matters into their own hands, their determination as unwavering as their hope. The family erected a billboard on the side of the road, looming large as a constant reminder of the children who vanished into the night. The faces of the missing Sodder children stared out from the billboard, their smiles frozen in a time before the tragedy. It was a silent plea, a call to action, a demand for answers. In addition to the billboard, they offered a reward, a sizable sum for any information leading to the whereabouts of their children. It was a testament to their unwavering belief that their children were still out there, somewhere, waiting to be found. As the years rolled on, the billboard and reward became a part of the local landscape, a testament to a family's undying hope and relentless pursuit of truth. But it was a mysterious photograph received years later that rekindled the dwindling flame of hope. The photograph, worn and aged, depicted a man resembling one of the missing Sodder children. The resemblance was uncanny, a mirror image of the boy they remembered, only older. The image was a beacon, a glimmer of hope in a sea of despair. Could it be possible? Could one of their children have survived that fateful night? It was a lifeline, a sliver of hope amidst the darkness that had engulfed the family. A possibility, however faint, that their children might still be alive out there, somewhere, waiting to be found. The photograph breathed new life into their quest, fueling their determination to uncover the truth. Could this be the break they had been waiting for, or just another cruel twist in their torment? As the years rolled on, theories and speculations began to swirl around the Sodder children's disappearance. A mystery as perplexing as this one was destined to draw conjectures from every corner, each one more intriguing and unsettling than the last. One widely held theory proposed kidnapping as the key to the enigma. Some believed that the children had been snatched away in the dead of the night, spirited off to a new life by unknown hands. This theory was given credence by the fact that no trace of the children was found in the burnt ruins of their home. But who would want to kidnap the Sodder children? And for what purpose? That, unfortunately, remained a question without a satisfactory answer. Another theory, profoundly disturbing and heart-wrenching, suggested that the children had been sold into slavery. This theory was born out of the supposed sighting of the children in a passing car on the night of the fire. Could it be that the children had been stolen away, their identities erased, forced into a life far removed from the love and warmth of their family? The thought sends chills down the spine. And then there were those who believed the children had simply perished in the fire, their remains reduced to ashes. But this theory was contradicted by fire experts who maintained that, even in the most intense of fires, some skeletal remains should have been left behind. These theories, while fascinating and at times chilling, were all just conjectures. Each had its own gaps, its own unanswered questions. The lack of solid evidence supporting any theory made the mystery of the Sodder children's disappearance even more maddening. In the end, the truth of what happened to the Sodder children that fateful night remained shrouded in mystery. Every theory, every speculation, every piece of so-called evidence seemed to lead to more questions than answers. Yet, the truth remained as elusive as the children themselves. Decades have passed since that fateful night, yet the mystery of the Sodder children's disappearance endures. The story of the Sodder family is one that continues to captivate, to puzzle, and to provoke endless speculation. It's a tale that's been told and retold, investigated and reinvestigated, yet the truth remains as elusive as a wisp of smoke in the wind. Over the years, the case has been dissected by professionals and amateurs alike. Detectives, journalists, armchair sleuths, and even psychics have turned their attention to the Sodder mystery, each hoping to crack the case that has baffled so many before them. Yet, despite all their efforts, the fate of the Sodder children remains shrouded in uncertainty. Theories abound, of course. Some whisper of a mafia hit, others of a botched kidnapping. There are those who believe the children perished in the fire, and those who are convinced they survived, spirited away into the night by unknown hands. Yet none of these theories have ever been proven beyond doubt, and the question of what truly happened to the Sodder children remains unanswered. The parents, George and Jenny Sodder, carried the weight of this mystery until their final days. Their hearts were heavy with the loss of their children, their minds tortured by the lack of closure. They died never knowing what became of their beloved offspring, their sorrow a testament to the enduring power of this mystery. In the end, the Sodder family was left with a home turned to ashes and a mystery that still burns. The story of the Sodder children is a haunting reminder of the fragility of life, of the suddenness with which joy can turn to tragedy, and of the enduring fascination we hold for the unexplained. It's a mystery that has spanned decades, and one that, even now, continues to captivate the world. Today, we revisit this chilling tale, not to exploit a family's agony, but to keep the search alive. This story, the disappearance of the Sodder children, has become more than just a haunting mystery. It is a testament to human resilience and an enduring plea for truth. For over 7 decades, this enigma has gripped the hearts and minds of many. The missing pieces of the puzzle, the unanswered questions, they've all added layers to this mystery. But what if we're on the brink of a revelation? What if the answers lie within our grasp, waiting to be discovered? The possibility that the Sodder children or their descendants could still be alive out there is both fascinating and terrifying. It's a thought that compels us to delve deeper, to keep the story alive, and to never stop seeking the truth. This plea isn't just for the sake of curiosity, but for closure, for justice. The Sodder family lived through a nightmare, a reality no family should ever face. Their pain resonates with us, reminding us of the fragility of life and the strength of the human spirit. But we are not powerless in this quest. Each one of us can contribute to the unraveling of this mystery. By sharing this story, by questioning the established narratives, by seeking out the overlooked details, we keep the hope alive. We keep the memory of the Sodder children alive. The world is a vast web of connections and coincidences. Perhaps one of you listening to this today holds a vital clue, a missing piece of the puzzle. Perhaps one of you can help bring closure to this enduring mystery. Remember, mysteries are not meant to remain unsolved. They challenge us, they push our boundaries, they make us question. And in our quest for answers, we often stumble upon truths far greater than we imagined. For every mystery holds a truth, waiting to be unearthed. Will you be the one to solve the enduring enigma of the Sodder children's disappearance?